Well, I am back live again today. I had a great show this morning with Dr. Gerald Horn. If you go on my YouTube page, make sure you check that out. We had like an hour and a half of some really fun stuff. But this evening, I'm going to talk about the midterm, and I don't mean the immediacy. I'm going to say the next couple of years out, what politics are going to look like in the EU, in the US. Let's chat. Well, it's Saturday night on an Easter weekend, so I don't know how many people will be coming on to join us, but you know me, I like to talk, I like to chat, I try to get on as much as I can. And let's talk about politics. I saw some things today, I heard some things today that made me think about the near term politics for the EU and the US. So let's start here. We'll start a bit with the US, and you never know what can happen. There is something in politics called a black swan event, meaning, something that out of the blue happens that could change things. But as it is today, unless something significantly changes, and that something could be Joe Biden being replaced. But even then, I think we're looking at a Democratic landslide of, shall we say, biblical proportions. And when we use the biblical metaphor, we mean the parting of the Red Sea, right? I see the Democratic Party in November getting wiped out from registrar of wills in the local county to Congress from one end to the other. I mean, this is not going to be pretty. And the immediate thought, well, because I'm going to talk about the EU, and let's discuss why. Why is that? Why are they going to get wiped out so bad? Well, it appears to me that the Democratic Party, there were people. When we say the party, who do we mean? The people who run the party now, clearly and openly, the neocons, right? The neoconservatives, the Bill Kristol, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, Victoria Nuland wing. These are the people who ran foreign policy under George W. Bush. They have seized full control of the Democratic Party. And the evidence I put forward is this. The Democratic Party of today, the Democratic leadership, is completely disconnected to domestic policy. They don't care. The neocons don't care about domestic policy. They are trying to get world hegemony, right? They want to run the world. They want to get in the world's the international chessboard and play their power hand, right? So they're doing something worse than ignoring something far worse than ignoring just domestic policy. If they only ignored domestic policy, that would be bad. But they're doing something far, far worse. What they're doing is they're sacrificing domestic policy at the altar of their hegemonic world control desire. So they want to run the world so much so that now they're saying to the American people, look, we're going to tax you to death, and we're going to take that money and we're going to spend most of it on the military. But that ain't enough. Now, in order to make Putin suffer, whoever, whatever, right, you're going to have to pay more for food. You're going to have to pay more for gas. We're going to make your lives a living bloody hell so that we can move forward with our foreign policy. So I don't even know how to put it. It's not that they're putting domestic policy in subjection to foreign policy. It's that they're sacrificing the lives, the livelihoods, and the future of Americans for the neocon project, the project for the new American century. This is Dick Cheney stuff. And now, if you had any curiosity as to what America would look like and what American policy would look like if Dick Cheney was in charge, you don't have to guess anymore. This is what it looks like. America is into risky wars internationally. America is into funneling unthinkable amounts of money into their the empire and the hegemonic world control desires. And America is saying to the American people, well, by the way, we're sacrificing you too. saying to the European people, we're sacrificing you too. We're going to blow your economy to shreds. The US, yeah, look, you're going to have to pay more. It's the Putin price hike. Well, what does that mean? That means you're going to pay more. Shut up and do it. So, with the neocon warmonger crazies firmly in charge, any party that gives them the wheel is doomed. Because what is a domestic policy about? What do Americans want? Two things. And these words, as soon as you hear these words, you'll know you heard them before. Peace and prosperity, right? Peace and prosperity. That's what any country, if you look at the people, what do they want? They want peace. They don't want nobody to screw with them. They want to go about their lives, no wars, no problem. And they want a bit safety, and they want prosperity, a chicken in every pot. That's what they want. Everybody's got plenty of food. We can pay our bills. We got some leisurely time, and we feel relatively safe. That's what they want, expect from their government. They got none of it now. And their government is sacrificing their future and their livelihood and their present at the altar of, it's so important. We've got to go confront Putin. We've got to deal with Ukraine. Some countries 7,000 miles away that Americans couldn't find on a map. Now they've got to pay more for their gas and more for their everything, for some abstract reason that we're not really sure of, to protecting democracy, an independent country, whatever the case, Putin must go, that kind of crap. Americans, as long as, here's the truth, and it's unfortunate, as long as the US was abusing, people in South America, slaughtering them by the thousands, Muslims, mangling them, murdering them, bombing their countries, mistreating them. As long as America was doing things in countries and stealing the resources, and Americans were living well off the resources, Americans would argue, even the Democrats, the Republicans, progressives, everybody was arguing over who gets a bigger slice of the pie. What we weren't discussing was whose bodies were baked in that pie. That we were, oh boy, I can get bananas for 33 cents a pound. But why do apples that are only grown in an orchard 15 miles away, 20 miles, 50 miles from my house, why do they cost me $2 a pound? And bananas that are 4,000 miles away cost 33 cents a pound. Why is that? Because we are abusing, oppressing, and overthrowing the government of the people in the country that raises the bananas. And might I add, the only problem that we really saw from that was when the people from those countries that we destabilized so we could get their bananas and their coffee and their chocolate showed up at the border. And because we were totally ignorant of the reality of why they were showing up on our border, because we didn't accept the reality that our government was destabilizing, overthrowing the government, destabilizing the countries that they lived in, and committing genocides in the countries. We wanted the cheap bananas and cheap coffee and cheap chocolate. And then we'd say, what are these people doing showing up? You've got to keep these people off our borders. They're going to take our jobs. We never took account of what dynamics created a bunch of people on our borders. Okay. So we could live in an empire that abused and oppressed people in South America and Africa and in Middle East, because we got cheap oil, we got cheap bananas, we got cheap coffee, we got cheap diamonds and gold and whatever the hell we got from rubber from Africa. So we took advantage of it. And as long as Americans didn't feel the pain that the empire was inflicting on people around the world, we just kept our mouths shut and soaked it up, if you want to be honest. So now let's get down to it. Now, America, the empire pain comes home. Now that there are other great powers, namely Russia and China, and to some extent India and Iran, there are other great powers who are arising in the world, who are waking up, who are becoming powerful, who are peers and competitors for business and things of that nature, who are able to go to some of those other countries and offer them a deal that might be better than the one that we're offering, because it doesn't involve overthrowing your country and killing a lot of your people. Right now, the United States wants to challenge those parties, and it's saying to the American people, look, you've been living off the cheap bananas and all. Now, in order for us to challenge these other great powers, you're gonna have to suck it up and take the hit. And American people don't want to take the hit. They ain't going to take the hit, and they're not going to, and they're not going to be happy about it. And the government right now, let's face it, this Putin price hike, and we want to get involved with that. Who's all behind that? Who's the people? The people that are riding around in their Priuses, going to their with their Black Lives Matter. They got a Black Lives Matter mask on. They got a rainbow flag They got a Prius and a latte, and they think they're lowering their carbon footprint and all the things they're doing right. And now they're like, oh, by the way, and send some more weapons over to those Nazis in Ukraine. They're the people that went berserk over Nazis in Charlottesville, and now they are all huggy with the Nazis in Ukraine, right? So there's a lot of contradictions there, and I'm not putting down Priuses. I've got a my car is a it ain't a Prius, but I drive a hybrid. And the reason I drive a hybrid is because it gets 40 miles to the gallon and gas is a price through the roof. Just bought it. So my point being, I'm just saying that to kind of, let who we're talking about here, the people who claim to be so fair and loving, and they're about everybody getting treated fair, and they're full of crap. So at any rate, so on we go. So the Biden administration took power, and they, to me, more so than ever, they have glaringly demonstrated this contradiction, a contradiction that says, I'm looking out for people, the downtrodden, and I'm here for human rights. And it's all a lie. It's a lie. They're the people who said, well, we're mad at Donald Trump because of his Muslim ban. But they're the same people who went to the Muslim countries and bombed the hell out of people, killing them by the tens and hundreds of thousands. There's a contradiction there. That contradiction, Donald Trump was an example of someone who could demonstrate that contradiction. They called Donald Trump, you're a crook. Look at the way you're doing. You're filing bankruptcy. And Donald Trump looked at those same neoliberals and said, wait a minute. Yes, yes, yes. I am utilizing the rules that allow me to get over on the system. You created those rules. How you going to get mad at me? Don't hate the player, hate the game. You created the rules for the game. So the contradiction to the neoliberals is being shown. It's being exposed. And so now we're with the neoliberals, and the neoliberals party has been completely, I call it the uniparty, both parties, but has been taken over by the likes of the Dick Cheney people. You knew, if you knew anything about politics, when Victoria Nuland, Dick Cheney's assistant for foreign policy, came into was brought into prominence in the Biden administration, what you were going to get: wars, anti-Russia stuff, anti-China stuff, anti-Iran, all of that. So now this is where we are. They have, in my humble opinion, my opinion ain't never humble, but I like to use that term, they have aggravated a war on Russia's border, pumping weapons into Ukraine, refusing any questions by Russia about working on a diplomatic outcome. And here we are. And now they're lying to the American people like the rats that they are. They're lying nonstop, propaganda nonstop. They've gone full totalitarianism, where they're cutting down on free speech, throwing everybody off of Twitter, throwing every RT, whoever it is. If you're a dissident from another country or a dissident from this country, you're shut down, you're deplatformed. These people are totalitarians. And then they're telling us we should be scared of Marine Le Pen and we should be scared of Trump. Why? Because they're totalitarian. You people are fascist. You're pure fascists. The people in Brussels now aren't fascists. I'm not saying that Marine Le Pen or whoever the far right-wing person isn't a far right-wing person, but they sure as hell ain't no more fascist than the people that are running. Don't try to tell me that they're more fascists than the Victoria Nulands and the Liz Cheneys of the world that have their hands on the steering wheel of the Biden administration. The Jake Sullivans, these people are pure fascists. And so how can I be scared of Marine Le Pen? How can I be scared of anyone when you people are pure fascists? I'll put it like this. You might have heard me to say it before, but those who haven't, I'll say it. If ultranationalism, far-right ultranationalism, that's considered fascism, and ultranationalism it is fascism, it's far-right, it's an ultranationalist, right? But ultraliberalism is fascism too. And that's what we've got with the Biden people, ultraliberalism. And what they do is, and I'm getting somewhere with where we're going, what they do is they hide behind, they hide their fascism behind this human rights, pro-do-gooder crap, right? We're going to slaughter lots of people. We're going to destroy the Constitution. We're going to shut the mouths of anyone, any dissident in under the guise of free speech. But we're doing it for a good reason. You're going to do the same things that any totalitarian government would do. You're going to completely suppress the media and put nothing but government talking points. You're going to have the media now telling us that if we doubt the media, that misinformation now is doubting what the government says. This information is, if you say, I think we should doubt what the government says, that's now misinformation and disinformation. Yes, it is, in a totalitarian government. And the totalitarian government we have, think about it. They talk about authoritarianism. Let me give you two different versions of it, and I'll give you the version that we have now. One version is an authoritarian person, an authoritarian leader. And so the whole government, whether it's Hitler, whoever, right? The government revolves around this personality. This is a strong man or strong woman potentially, but a strong man leader, and the government all revolves around this person. And you got a totalitarian kind of a cultish government around this one single leader, right? That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is the same thing, but it's around an ideology. So you don't have to have the leader, the person. You can have an ideology that says our ideology is so righteous, it's so just. And then you have the piousness, and then you have the self-righteousness of the Biden administration and the people around him, that you get the same kind of totalitarianism, but it's built around we have an ideology that's so righteous. Okay. So that's what we're looking at now. That's why when someone says Marine Le Pen, oh, you got to be scared of her, that there's a lot of French people that are saying, I'm scared of what I'm seeing in Paris. I'm scared of what I'm seeing in Brussels now. And Marine Le Pen ain't looking scarier than these people who shut down RT and Sputnik and all the dissident who shut through Pepe Escobar and Scott Ritter, thrown off Twitter. Some of the people who we need to hear what they have to say. They have important things to say. They're brilliant people. But what they have to say is a narrative that's in opposition to the mainstream narrative. And the mainstream narrative, they have to shut these people's mouths because they're telling pure lies. And Scott Ritter and Pepe Escobar and some of these other people are challenging that with truths. They're challenging that with history. They're challenging that with facts. And the mainstream totalitarian leadership that we have, they're just lie all the time. There's no place for facts, and they can't argue against facts. Okay, so let's keep going. So what's going to happen? They have been exposed, and unless something dramatic happens, the Democratic Party will be wiped out beyond belief. And so what are you going to get? All the things that the Democrats are afraid of, all the boogeymen, all the scary things are coming. That's right. All the anti-abortion laws, they're going through. All of the things about the trans and all that stuff, those laws, those rules, gone. All of the things that Democrats argue for, the Republicans are going to get power from one end of this country to the other. Blue states, red and blue states, they are going to get power everywhere, and they're going to trash all of that stuff. Because what they're going to do is they're connecting it. They're going to connect and probably appropriately so, even though some of the stuff I may agree with, they're going to appropriately connect it to the totality, to the way it's used in an oppressive way, and the way it's used to perpetrate the fraud on the American people, that our government, that the Biden regime and the uniparty that we have now is operating for a good cause. And they're going to, yeah, you're in favor of trans people, but you're not in favor of freedom of speech and rights for people. And so some things that probably should be addressed as a matter of fairness, is all that crap is out the window. So I would argue this to the Democrats: if you really care about trans people and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff, why would you act in a way so politically reckless that you guarantee that your political enemies will take power and throw it all in the trash, which means you don't really care about it. And that's the truth. All of those things, the Democratic Party doesn't care about that stuff. That is simply tools, propaganda to be used so that they can pretend that they've got some kind of a moral high ground. They don't care about that crap. If they did, they would be concerned. Well, we better be at least reasonable towards the American people, or the Republicans are going to get all the power and they're going to overturn everything. No, they don't care about that. And the billionaires that own the Republicans, they don't, the Democrats, they don't care because they own the Republicans too. So they're always going to get what they want. That's a reality. So Democrats are going to get wiped out. I'm thinking that Marine Le Pen should win this. Probably she may not, only because there will be. And here's what kills me: the Democrats. Oh, the Republicans are. They're. Excuse me. The Russians are interfering with our elections, right? Whenever they're going to lose. So you know that the French election, if Le Pen's going to win, well, I'm expecting to see the Russians are interfering. I'm expecting major interference from the mainstream media, which will attack Le Pen night and day, and will try everything they can to work on France's behalf. And of course, you can't trust the polls. If they got machines, God knows they better shut all of them down and do a handwritten ballot. So the powers in Brussels, the powers in Langley, Virginia, will do everything they can to ensure that Macron wins. But I got a funny feeling that he may lose. And at that point, if they do that, then NATO knows good and damn well that Marine Le Pen is not going along with this economic suicide that they're putting on the EU through these Russia sanctions, and she's going to start backing away from them in a hurry. And she's not going along with whatever NATO wants. And at that point, that's a huge crack in the armor, because right now, what are they? The second largest. France is the second largest economy in the EU. And if you're Germany and France starts backing out, can you hold on? Because Germany has no sovereignty. Marine Le Pen saying, I'm not going to be in subjection to Washington. Marine Le Pen. And let me add this. What happens if Marine Le Pen starts barking and says, look, these prices are going up and it's because of the Russia sanctions. We need to do it with Russia sanctions. No, we're not going to give up Russian gas. We want our people to have a reasonable price. What happens if Le Pen starts saying, I'm going to stand up for the French people and try to get these prices down and try to get this inflation down? I'm not going along with this European economic suicide. How can the rest of Europe hold on if she's doing it? How can they continue to do it? Because you know what's going to happen? If you're Olaf Scholz, let me say this. Olaf Scholz's coalition in Germany ain't long for this world. Not with what they're doing. They're telling Germans, yeah, sure, times are hard. Don't take so many hot showers. And literally, there was an article where the Germans said you should ride a bike more to annoy Putin. Like Putin's like, hey, man, I was having a great day and I turned on the TV and I saw a German guy riding down the road on a bike and I was so annoyed. I was like, oh, crap, that's old Max there. Old Max is riding down the road on a bicycle. Well, I'm just pissed about that. I mean, the preposterous arguments that they make. Hey, by the way, you're being screwed by the decisions that we're making, and do something to this. We need you to cut back on energy because we're screwing you over so bad. Would you mind doing that? And would you believe it will annoy Putin? How about that? No, the Germans ain't buying it. And particularly if Le Pen wins. And think about this: if she doesn't win, the pressure is still there. The pressure is still there if she's close to winning. The pressure is there because they're all going to look over their shoulder and say, holy crap. So what happens? I think in the intermediate run, you're going to see these governments that have pushed so hard for these sanctions, and as the punishment gets worse and worse, as these sanctions bring holy hell on the people of Europe, they are going to be furious. And you're going to see government after government in Europe. Because remember, in a parliamentary system, vote of no confidence on any given Tuesday, the government can collapse. And you're going to see government after government. They're like, hey, Putin's we need regime change. Well, they're going to get regime change. Moscow will be about the only place they don't get regime change. So as the people in Europe start to feel the bite of these sanctions, you're going to see what I think will probably be Le Pen type people. You're going to see right wingers who are not anti-Russian, who are more aligned with pro-sovereignty policies, who are going to be more like, we don't want to be run over by the United States. We don't want to be in subjection to the United States. So what you're going to see, I think, realistically, let me put it a different way. I think that you're going to see people recognize that their governments and the governments in Europe have no sovereignty. And because they have no sovereignty, they're doing what the US does to their own detriment. And the people in Europe are going to want governments who will say no to the United States and will act on behalf of the people, which means the U.S. empire shrinks, doesn't it? Because right now, Europe is part of the U.S. empire. Right now, the countries in Europe have no sovereignty. They're just part of the empire, and they do what the hell they're told, no matter how bad it hurts their people. So what you're going to see is people that don't like that crap. And they're going to say, we want a government which will probably tend to be right, I think, right wing. They're going to say, we want some sovereignty. We're going to want a government in that'll say, no, we want the cheapest gas we can get. We want fertilizer. We want food. We want to move in another direction. Now, they do have a problem, though. And here's the problem. They need Russia. And when this thing starts to fall apart and the prices start to skyrocket and the people's blood pressure start to skyrocket and they hit the ceiling and they say, we want this government out, we want a government out that's going to give us blah, blah, blah. At some point, these governments are going to come back to Russia and say, we want a deal. The problem is, I think Russia's at its wit's end. And I think when they do, that Russia's going to be like, no, thanks, we're good. We're good. You guys just keep on suffering. You don't need us. We don't need you. We got nothing to bargain with. See, if you think about it, and I brought this up before, right now they're playing with fire. Right now, on any given Tuesday, as I always say, Russia could say, you know what? You guys are playing hardball, so we're going to start playing hardball. We're shutting off your gas. We're shutting it off. So it's off as effective tomorrow. And if the Europe, which we already know, they can't do anything they can't survive without Russia's gas. And if they say to the Russians, look, we want a deal, what do you need to turn the gas off back on? And Russia says, I don't think you understand what's going on here. We don't need a deal. We don't need a bargain. We're done with you. The gas is off. Go find your own. We don't trust you. We don't have anything to talk about. The gas is off. Go on about your business. Go tell your population how evil we are, that we're eating children, that we're the worst human beings, that we don't, you seize whatever assets we got. Go ahead and seize them. Do all of that. But there's nothing you can do anymore to get gas from us. It's over. Your economies are over. You're back to the Stone Ages. You're not going to have electricity to run your plants. You're not going to have anything. It's over. Goodbye. Gas is off, shut the door. See, think about that. Russia could do that. They could just say, oh, yeah, by the way, Europe, if we cut your gas off, it's all over. Your industry's done and your country's going to fall apart. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And we're not bargaining for it. And we're not doing it. Very, very dangerous situation that Europe is putting itself in. They're operating only by the good graces of Russia. If Russia wakes up on the wrong side of the bed one day and says, we're shutting you off and we don't have anything to talk about, and literally refuses to negotiate and just says, no, the door is closed. We're moving on with our lives. We're going to try to find other people. There's people that want to buy energy. We got oil, we got gas. Trust me, we'll never run out of customers for oil and gas in this world, and just slams the door on them. So as the governments in Europe begin to topple and be replaced by governments that are probably going to be more conservative, more right-wing, less anti-Russia, more pro-sovereignty, more anti-US, as that starts to happen, they better hope that Russia says, we'll listen to you, maybe let you back into the fold. But I don't think they will. I think Russia will sell them gas. I think they'll sell them gas. They'll sell them some things. Maybe. I do think that Russia will plan on, as their contracts with various countries run out, they're going to shut them down. They're going to say, okay, well, Germany, your contract runs out in 2027. We've already got customers lined up for 2027. We suggest that you find somebody to get gas with, effective whatever the end of our contract is in 2027. This gas is sold to Vietnam, Singapore, North Korea, you name it. This gas is sold. It's not available for you. At the termination of our contract, there will be a termination of our contract. France, Spain, Italy, same with all of you. We only got a contract of whatever, 2026, 2027. We're not renewing it. No thanks. Now, keep in mind, you'll be looking at countries that don't have another option. And they're saying, we're going to get off Russian gas by 2026. Well, they might not have an option. Russia might say, good news. We're going to help you because we ain't renewing our contract. I think as Russia looks east, as Russia builds new pipelines east, that's kind of what you're looking at. They're going to say, we need to buy things from you, Russia. We need wheat. We need titanium to build planes. And Russia might say, sorry, but those days are over. Sorry, China's into building planes now, and they need the titanium. We'll sell it to them, but we won't sell it to you. Goodbye. Sorry, the shop's closed. Those days are done. And I think that's what you're going to be looking at. And I think, at some point, I see Europe saying, "How can we fix this in Russia?" And it's like this. This is the metaphor I always use. You're standing on a cliff and you say, "That's it, I'm jumping," and you jump and you're in the air. And then while you're in the air, you say, "How can I fix this?" There ain't no fixing it. If you jump off a cliff, you'll never go up. You're not going to slow up 32 feet per second, and whatever the raggedy, craggedy rocks below that cliff, you're going to splat on them. The time to have considered an alternative plan was before you jumped off that cliff. And now that they have seized the Russian assets and said, we're going to destroy Russia, we're going to get rid of the Russian leader, we're going to take Russia out, we're going to destroy them in every way, shape, and form. We're going to declare economic war on Russia and the Russian people. We hate them. We don't want to see we're going to seize their artwork. We don't want them singing, dancing, playing music. We don't want them to part of our culture. They're evil. That's a choice that Europeans are made. But at some point, when they wake up and realize that they need Russian raw materials one of these days, and it may not be long from now, Russia's going to say, get the hell out of my face. You ain't getting none of them. And there's no way to fix it. And I see that as a true possibility. And it's possible at some point that Russia may, through some very, very harsh deal, say, well, okay, let's start here. You want to talk to us about that? Yes, start off by giving us our 300 billion back. We'll talk to you. The first thing we got to have is our 300 billion back, or we can't hear you. Hey, Russia, can we talk to you? I'm sorry, I can't hear you, but it's going to cost me $300 billion for a hearing aid. Give me 300 billion, and I might be able, I will grant you an audience to discuss renewing the gas contract. But getting an audience alone is going to cost you that 300 billion. And there ain't no guarantee that when I give you an audience that you're going to get the answer you want. But before you even get an audience, it's going to cost you 300 billion. Russia's going to be they're in the driver's seat now. But at some point, they're going to take advantage of that driver's seat. And it may simply be just to walk away and say, we don't do business with you people anymore. You're sunk. Your goose is cooked. Goodbye. And that's the situation that they put themselves in. So I think for a long time, for the immediate term, in the mid to immediate term, next couple years out, you're going to see the total collapse of the neoliberal parties, the neoliberal project, as a result of the decisions made by the cabal of fruitcakes on the Biden team. The Jake Sullivans, etc. You're going to see that. And there will be complete control by Republicans and conservatives in the United States, total and complete control of politics. And so much so they could decide to convene a constitutional committee. I mean, let's face it, all they need is 2/3 of the states, and they can convene a constitutional committee, and they can change the hell out of things in a way that they will never lose power. That's a possibility as a result of 14 months of the Biden administration. 14 months of the Biden administration could create a dynamic, has created a dynamic where that is more likely than not. So, dear liberals, all the things that you hate, you have created a dynamic where you're going to get every one of them. And, I'm here. I'm in the United States, and it is what it is. I didn't create this dynamic, and I tried. People like me who we said, look, perhaps you should think another way. You're in. Look, let's start off here. Joe Biden comes in making all of these promises. He's the next FDR, right? And what's the first thing he does? If you didn't see what was coming, you're an idiot. He starts off by saying, You elect us, give us Georgia, and you'll get $2,000. The second it happens, $2,000 goes out the door today. You're going to get $2,000. You get a check for $2,000. Literally, that's what they said. The Democrats won Georgia, and he said, "I'll make that 1,400. You already got 600. We're going to give you 1,400 more." That was the clue as to the direction of the Biden administration. Two things: they can't be trusted. They're they wouldn't tell the truth. You couldn't waterboard the people in the Biden administration and get the truth out of them. That's number one. Number two, here's the next thing: they don't care about the American people. It's a neocon administration. They just ain't into you. They're not into domestic policy. Domestic policy is an aggravation. Domestic policy is something that must be used on behalf of the neocon world project. That's all it is. So now you got to pay more. Shut up and pay more. Why? Because I got the power. You think about it. Neocons are fascists. They really are. They're fascists. And a fascist thinks like this: I got the power. I can get what I want. And there it is. The neocon is a psychopathic worldview, which means there is no, read a book called The Sociopath Next Door if you want to understand neocons. There is no conscience. There is no fear of accountability for their actions, of what might happen in the future. Let me tell you, I was in law enforcement, and I will tell you of a story where someone who was obviously a sociopath, and that was no thought of what can happen in the future. Two guys are sitting in a car. They are cousins. One of them just cashed his check for $500. They stop at 7-Eleven. He says, I got to run in and get a pack of cigarettes and, a soda or something, right? He leaves his cousin in the car, $500 in the console. He comes back to the car. His cousin is there. The $500 ain't. He says to his cousin, where's my $500? I don't know. I just left you in the car with my money. Where's my $500? I don't have it. I don't know. Where is it? I don't know. He calls the police. The police come there, and they basically, it's, hey, look, just give the man his $500. You don't have to be arrested. Nothing has to happen. You're in there. He's in there. He walked in. $500 disappeared. Give the man. And the guy's like, look, cousin, so and so. Give me, you took it. I didn't want to call the cops. Just give me the money. And the cops already said they'll leave. You won't be charged, and we'll go on. I'm done with you. I can't believe you did this to me, but just give me the money. We can go our separate ways. I'm not going to fight you. We'll keep it between us. Let's go on with our lives. No, I don't know. I don't have the money. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So let's just say the law enforcement officers on the scene at that time elected to search the man, and the $500 was in his sock. His cousin walked in the store. He looked at the $500, but this is how a sociopath thinks. You have to understand, it's not that he took the $500. It's how does a sociopath think? There's $500. I want $500. I can get the $500 because it's right in front of me. Boom, stick it in his pocket. Now, if you're not a sociopath, you would think this thing through. I could be held accountable. There could be consequences for this. You're thinking long term. You're not a sociopath. A sociopath thinks, I want the $500. I can get the $500. I will take the $500. I will put it in my sock. And when you ask him about it, he's not even thinking, well, if I tell you I don't have it, you're going to search me and find it. No, I don't have it. No thought of what's going to happen in the future. I'll deal with that when it comes. That's what the neocons are. They're sociopaths and psychopaths. They're not thinking about the midterms. No, they're not thinking if I screw the American people over, they won't vote for. No, I want the 500 and I can get it. There's Putin. I've been waiting all this time to get Russia right where I want them and screw them over. I'll fix them now. Boom. Well, how can we get Putin? Well, we can do all these sanctions. Nah, it's going to hurt the American people. Who cares? We'll just lie to the American people. We need these sanctions. The sanctions are in front of me. I want to sanction Russia, and I can sanction Russia. I can finally do what I wanted to do. and I'm going to do it right now. But I'm not going to think about what's going to happen in the future because I don't have a conscience and I don't have the ability to consider the repercussions for my actions. I just want something and it's in front of me. I hate Putin and I want to sanction and punish Putin. And right now I can do it and I'm going to do it. And um, when the future comes, yeah, I'll deal with that then. I'm not even thinking about that. I want something and I can get it, and there it is. And that's all they are. You have. So Biden is surprised, the Jake Sullivans of the world, when they did the Russiagate crap. If I was involved, I'd think to myself, guys, if these people start investigating this Russiagate thing, we could get in a lot of trouble, relying and cheating and stealing. They didn't think of that. Trump won. We got to stop him. We'll call him a Russian bot. What can we do next? They came up with a plan and they executed their plan to get Trump. The idea that they may one day be held accountable never crossed their minds. And that's where they are now. And now the midterms are coming up. These idiots in the EU. First of all, if you are a sociopath or a psychopath, right? You don't think like me and you. What would I think if I was the leader of Germany? If I was the leader of the United States? If I was the leader of France? Here's what I think. You got a lot of everyday people that are just trying to feed their families. They got elderly parents. They got kids. They're going to suffer. They're going to hurt. I don't want to see people suffer and hurt. Then, from a selfish perspective, they're going to be mad at me and I'm going to be held accountable. I don't want to be held accountable. But I ain't a sociopath. A sociopath does not have empathy. So they're not thinking about the people in their country. Hey, the people in your country will suffer. I don't understand the question. Hey, I want to sanction Putin. Yay, we can do that finally. The idea of empathy is not part of their consideration. They don't have that tool. So they don't give a holy crap about the people in their country. They could care less. If you had empathy, could you destroy the country of Ukraine? Could you use the Ukrainians' bodies for target practice? Use their lives, waste and dispose of their lives just so your quest for the great white whale, which is Putin? No. You'd say, well, the Ukrainians are people too, and I don't want to see them. No, they could care less about it. Every one of them die as far as they're concerned, slaughtered. They don't care. They're sociopaths. They don't have empathy. They don't have that tool. And now, in the same way that the guy eventually got caught with the $500 in their sock, the midterms are coming. The 24th is coming for Macron. And Olaf Scholz is going to wake up one day and there's going to be there's going to be 100,000 people in the street saying, why the hell am I paying $25 for a gallon of gas? Why are my shelves empty? Why is it I can't afford food? Even if I got money, I can't buy it because the shelves are. What the hell's going on? Why are we all laid off? Why are we in a depression, wandering the streets like a bunch of zombies, nibbling on each other's brains? At some point, the German people are going to ask the question, and they're going to look at Olaf Scholz and say, "What the hell are you doing, man?" But he can't think that long term. He's right now, the U.S. wants me to do with this. I'm on a call with Biden and other people in Brussels. What are we going to do? We are going to bring Putin down. Oh, what do we got to do next? More. Crush, kill, destroy Putin. Crush, kill, destroy Putin. That's what they're saying on their psychotic, conference calls. Nobody is saying, excuse me, guys, hold on a second. I know we all want to take out Putin and, not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying maybe it could have been done better. But how about this? The people in my country, they're kind of running short of bread. And you might have heard this old saying in Europe, when the people are out of bread, it's off with the leader's head, and they kind of mean it. So all of this anti-Putin stuff's great. I hate Putin just like the rest of you guys. Yay, boo Putin, whatever the hell. But can we figure out how we can get some freaking bread in the hands of the peasants? Because I'm seeing pitchforks and I'm seeing torches outside the castle gate, and things are getting kind of heated here in Central Europe. Now the neocons are going to say, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But let's get back to Putin. But at least somebody on that conference call should say, Houston, we've got a problem. And they're in the streets and they got yellow vests on or something. Nah, that ain't, these people don't have the the mental, intellectual competency to think like that. And sociopaths, they don't have the empathy for their own people, and they don't have the ability to look forward. So in the near term, in the midterm, you're going to see drastic political change in the United States, a shift to the right. Now, the United States, the problem is we got the Uniparty, and the Republican Party is of today is a neoliberal party. Also, they're just every bit as warmongering. So, and they're the party of austerity. So they're going to say, screw over the American people. What we need to do is cut all benefits for poor people. And what we need to do is ship even more weapons and do even more neocon stuff. I do think you're going to see some people start running for office that says, I'm not for that crap, kind of the MAGA people. And so you might see a bit of a MAGA shift, which would be interesting, a MAGA shift in politics in the United States, where these people they got a fascist. They do have a very extremist fascist wing and element within their group, but they tend to be more non-interventionalists. So we'll see where they are. They may just be so stupid that they're like, look, here's what we're going to do. We're backing off Russia. Now let's go to China and start a nuclear war over there. Spend all of our money in China. Let's go. Let's do the same thing that the dumbasses in the Democratic Party are doing in Russia. Small potatoes in that. Let's go to China and do the stupidest thing we can possibly do in China. That's what you might see with the Republican Party, because let's face it, they're not exactly intellectual giants either. And you ain't going to find a whole lot of empathy in the Uniparty. They may argue over which country they should attack or start a war with, or how they should give all of our money to the billionaires. They're owned by the same people, but they'll have some different options, but they're coming. They are coming. Do not be misled. Oh, okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, no super chats tonight. Poor Garland, but that's okay. You can go to patreon.com/Garland Nixon. You can donate there. Let's see what people have to say. Christy says, all our rights are being surrendered to UN governance, New World Order, aka Nazi World Order. Yeah, well, look. Oh, let me mention this New World Order. You might have heard me talk about that. When it's kind of a fake. Here's what I mean. When George H.W. Bush said New World Order, one world government, all he was talking about, don't be misled, all he was talking about was total control by the U.S. empire. What he was talking about is one world government, and that one world government would be in 16th and K in Washington, D.C. He wasn't pretending that there'd be a world government. I mean, he wasn't arguing there'd be a world government where the Germans and the French and the British and all of these people would have input. No, he was saying, in reality, hegemony. One world government. In other words, there will be one government for the world, and it will be the United States government, and everybody will be under us. Okay, so that's what they went by New World Order and one world government. They meant the United States is in control of everything. Thanks a lot, Kinky, with the super chat. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the super chats and super stickers that people do. Thanks a lot. Let's see what else people have to say. The zombie and medium victims who used to be the left are now pro-war, healthcare for profit, anti-free speech. Frees anyone who isn't an emotionally controlled basket case can see that the globalists are desperately trying to move the country to the right. What's next? People on the right burning their bras. Yeah, well, the bottom line is they call themselves the left. They're the neoliberals. They're the uniparty, and they are the totalitarian. Look, what we're looking at is, look, people say fascism as though there's one strain of fascism, democracy as though there's one strain of democracy. There's different kinds of democracy, there's different kinds of fascism, there's different kinds of all of that. And let me say this about fascism and how this strain has truly infected America. In reality, for instance, America is saying the Chinese are doing this and they don't treat their people right, or this country is doing this and they don't do that. And there's an argument there. And here's what it means. We have a right to tell other people in the world how the hell to live. And we don't. If the Chinese want to do whatever the hell the Chinese are doing, they should be able to do it. We should respect your culture created your politics, and it ain't none of our business. And there are a lot of Americans who claim to be dissidents, who claim to be pushing back against the neoliberals and the neoconservatives, still will not accept that other countries have sovereignty. They'll still run around saying, well, the Chinese Communist Party should be. No, the Chinese Communist Party should do whatever the hell the Chinese Communist Party wants to do. It ain't our country. If they screw with us, we have a right to defend ourselves. If they don't screw with us, if they want to do business, we should be doing business with them. A lot of Americans are still a little hegemonic. They will claim to be outside of the norm, but they will still go say this country should do that. How come we're not sanctioning this country for this or that country for that? Oh, Saudi Arabia killed Khashoggi. Well, that wasn't nice. But guess what? He's Saudi Arabian. That's between, and it was done in Turkey. You know what I say? That's between Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Let them work it out, or don't. It ain't our country. Don't like it. Wasn't good. Oh, well. Does Saudi Arabia have something we want to buy? And do we have something they want to buy? Buy and sell. Sanction? I don't think so. Not me, not President Garland. I ain't sanctioning Saudi Arabia for killing Khashoggi. I don't like it. It wasn't nice. I'm going to give him some harsh words for it. But we got business to take care of. And that's who Saudi Arabia is. That's what they do. Some other countries want to get involved. It's their damn business. Garland would not get involved. I do my business, man. We get paid. They get paid. And guess what? I believe in sovereignty. And to show, here's what's interesting. To show the reality of it isn't that what we do with Saudi Arabia anyway? Isn't that what we do anyway? I mean, what I'm saying, isn't that what we do? Joe Biden was over there begging them to pump more oil. We're over there kissing their butt anyway because we need more oil. So all I'm saying is what we do with Saudi Arabia, which is mind their own damn business and make excuses, no matter what horrible thing they do, chopping off 81 people's head in a day. What we do with Saudi Arabia, let's just be honest with it and do it with everybody. We're going to do that with Saudi Arabia. And then we're going to say to the next country, you've got human rights violations. We've got to sanction you. No. The way we treat Saudi Arabia is reasonable. We respect their sovereignty to some extent. Well, I'd respect their, all I'm saying is I'd respect everybody's sovereignty. And Chicken Patty says, U.S. funding Ukraine against Russia. We are at war with Russia. We know it and everybody knows it. And look, Ukraine is not about Ukraine. Read. Go online and find Vladimir Putin's Empire of Lies speech. If you want to understand what this is about, the Empires of Lies speech makes it clear. It's about Russia and China. It's not just Russia. It's Russia and China have made a decision. And their decision is the United States is an untrustworthy element in a disturbing element in the world. And untrustworthy, and that Russia and China are going to forge forward with in a new direction. That's the reality of it. And Ukraine is just the first chess move. Ukraine is just Russia saying, we'd like you to get off of our border. And they knew the U.S. was going to say no. And at that point, they're like, well, then we'll throw you off. That's the reality. And the same's coming. China's saying, get the hell out of Taiwan, mind your business. And if you don't get out of Taiwan, we'll throw you the hell out of Taiwan. And we ain't scared to do it. It's coming. The United States has militarily crept up to the border of the two other world superpowers, and the two other world superpowers are going to fight them the hell off. And that's just the reality of it. The United States is going to have to decide, do they want to go to war with China or not? Because Taiwan better wake up. Taiwan better look at Ukraine. Taiwan better understand, if China attacks Taiwan, U.S. ain't fighting over there 8,000 miles away. They're not going to war with China. What, you think Apple, Nike, Walmart, all closed down if we go to war with China? The U.S. ain't going to war with China, and China now knows it. So China's going to say, look, Russia, you finished with Ukraine? Yeah, our turn. Bap! They're going to jap, slap, back slap, pimp slap Taiwan, and I think they're giving them ultimatum. And I think they say, Taiwan, let me show you a picture of Ukraine. Look at this. This is Ukraine before. Hey, now look at this picture. Oh, frowny face. This is Ukraine after Russia battered the hell out of it. Now, do you want before picture for Taiwan, or do you want frowny face picture with Taiwan? That's up to you. You're going to get one of the two. Which one will it be? Taiwan may very well say, we don't want frowny face. No frowny face Taiwan. How can we do smiley face Taiwan? Now, if they don't, China's going to blow the hell out of them. China's going to blow the hell out of them and move in and take Taiwan and say, well, let's see. We are the world's economy, United States. What you going to do? What you going to do? You're going to attack us? You're going to fight us? You're going to go to war? What you going to do? You're going to sanction us? We're your number one trading partner. What you going to do? We're calling your bluff. That's coming. It's coming because these idiots felt that they could go up to the border and they could pump weapons into the countries on the border of Russia and China, and there's a price to pay. And it's just a matter of time before Russia and China had said, no, it ain't going to happen. And that's where we are. But meanwhile, what'll be interesting is the people, I think, if China waits a little while, which they might not, who will be around to make that decision might not be the same politicians who bungled us into this. Might very well not be, because these people getting wiped out in the near term. So at any rate, thanks a lot. Let's see. Who will rebuild Mariupol? That's what Kinky says. China. I think China comes in. Look, there's a lot of potential in Ukraine. There's a lot of potential. Ukraine had gigantic steel companies. They built helicopter engines. They built ships. They have tremendous agricultural. Tremendous agriculture. So the truth is, if the United States hadn't grabbed Ukraine, overthrown the government, and simply tried to use it as a blunt object against Russia, there's a great opportunity. There was a great opportunity for Ukraine to be a financial superpower, powerful, not a superpower maybe, but a powerful financial engine in Eastern Europe. A lot of jobs, what have you. So what happens if China comes in and says, we got the money? Russia did their half. Their half was knocking the United States the hell out of Ukraine. Now we're going to do our half. We got the money. Belt and road time, baby. We're building shipbuilding facilities. We're making steel mills. They already got them. All those things are coming back. We're going to help them with their agriculture. We're going to help them with everything. That's what I see. I see China, Russia playing tag team, and China's going to come in. And by the way, you people best to wake up in Taiwan, or you're going to wake up blown to smithereens. You better wake up. You better make decisions, because very, very shortly, if you don't, the United States is playing the same dangerous game, the same bull crap that they played in Ukraine. They're playing in Taiwan and China. In Taiwan already, in Taiwan, and China has the formula. They got the formula. They know what to do, and they're starting to get really loud. And it's just a matter of time now before they hit Taiwan. But I think they may do what Russia did, in that they may send some kind of a diplomatic demand. All right, Taiwan, what you going to do? And bottom line, say to the United States, and if you want war it is. We don't care. If that's what it is, that's what it is. We got to resolve. We're willing to fight. I hope that doesn't happen, but time's coming in the Pacific. It happened in Eastern Europe. Next is the Pacific. They've decided to knock us off their border. And it's our decision. If we want to fight, we can fight. But how can a country, and see, here's the next thing. The EU's is going to be a friggin' mess. See, if China may just wait a few months for the EU economy to totally be in free fall and collapse. So what's NATO going to do? Oh, yes, sir. Our economy is in total collapse and free fall. Yep, we're in the US. Let's go over here and go to war with China. What do you think their people are going to do? Meanwhile, how long can they keep propping up this decrepit economy? Joe Biden's now saying, yes, we're going to use more corn, way more corn. And we're going to use ethanol and the gas to bring the prices down. Great. So we're going to be burning alcohol and not gas here shortly. And that's number one. Number two, he's releasing fuel from the strategic reserve. How long is that before you're out of strategic reserve? These prices are going to start jumping back up. And Joe Biden's at 33% now. That's 33% from 40% a week and a half ago. That's what Joe Biden's numbers are doing. Kabloom. What's Joe Biden going to do when he's in the 18% approval rating, under 20% approval rating, in the 20s, probably in the 20s now? 24% approval rating by Latinos, 63% among Blacks. He is in dire straits. Now, again, as I said, the neocons don't give a shit about that. They could care less. They're focused. They're going to get Putin. We're going to fix Putin. But how are you going to start a war at 18% approval ratings. When the people in your own country want to go to war with their own government, when they consider themselves at war with their own government, and you're going to say, let's go over and go to war here. Things ain't bad enough. Let's make them worse. Hang on, folks. Things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. Now, the people ain't buying that. At any rate, thanks a lot. Thanks, Kiki, for the super chat. And what do we got? Kinky says, great time for the U.S. to travel to the dollar very strong now against the pound and euro. Yeah, the poor old euro. I don't see good times ahead for the euro. I think that could collapse. So it looks like the fall winter ahead is going to be brutal for all of the West. I think so. I'll tell you what, it's going to be as brutal as hell for the Democrats. They're going to need another new Pearl Harbor. Yet that ain't going to save them. The first iPhone cost Apple $5, according to China's leader. I remember watching him brag in a video. Apple sold it for how little. The bottom line is, and so what are they going to do now? They're going to go to war with China and end all of our electronic everything, wipe out our economy. At any rate, thanks a lot, everyone. At Garland Nixon on Twitter, Garland.Nixon on Instagram, Garland Nixon on Facebook, garlandin@gmail.com. Make sure you like, share, smash the like button, as they say all the time. Is what's his name? Alex Christoforous always says, smash that like button. And make sure, if you're watching this on Facebook or if you're watching this on Twitter, which isn't very likely because I'm so highly suppressed on there, they don't like what I got to say. But if you are, please go to my YouTube and subscribe. Also, subscribe, go to my Odyssey. Everybody who's watching the show, please go to Odyssey, find Garland Nixon, and subscribe, because on any given day, they could toss me out. Go to my Telegram. Everybody should have a Telegram. You should be on Telegram. Everybody. Telegram is awesome. You can have it on your phone and you can have it on your computer, and it works the same. It's really one of my favorite apps. And as they start to throw us all off, where you know what? If you want to find Scott Ritter, you got to go to Telegram. I'm a member of Scott Ritter's Telegram channel. You can have your own Telegram channel. Everybody, you've got to get on Telegram as they throw us all off bit by bit. We can do whatever we want on Telegram. So go there. Odyssey, of course, Rumble, all stuff like that. I'm on Odyssey. Follow me there, and email me, garlandin@gmail.com. Peace. I am.